Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. Now before we get into it, I'd just like to inform you about a new website selling quality current and retro Spurs jerseys, okjersey.com. They sell all current and retro Tottenham Hotspur shirts in all sizes. They sell the current fan and player versions, as well as the 80s and 90s retro shirts, including my very favourite, the 1991 FA Cup final shirt. You can order very easily from okjersey.com, and if you use the code Chris, you will receive an 8% discount off your final order. You can also use the QR code on the top left of your screen. And by the way, they also have some training wear here and the 25-26 colour special edition jersey. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. Now, this is another edition of the Spurs Chat Podcast where, of course, we'll be talking about today's game, another defeat in the Premier League for Tottenham Hotspur, 2-0 against Manchester United. Now, we're live on YouTube and Facebook. Please do get involved. Let us know what you made of today's game and let us know how you are feeling right now as a Spurs fan. Now, let's get straight into it. Manchester United 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Brian Mbeumo put in Manchester United 1-0 up after 38 minutes. Bruno Fernandes with the second after 81 minutes. The game, of course, changed in the 29th minute with Christian Romero receiving a straight red card. Now, Thomas Frank, after the game, has just said no regrets about making Christian Romero as captain. He has apologised to his teammates in the changing room. He is one of our most important players. Now, this is the third time in the last 13 months that Spurs have gone 7 Premier League games without a win. It hadn't happened for 16 years prior to this. And Manchester United have beaten Tottenham today for the first time since October 2022 in all competitions. Now, the match facts and stats. Manchester United had 65% of the ball. Tottenham Hotspur had 35%. XG, Manchester United 1.79 to Tottenham's 0.49. Shots, Manchester United had 23 to Tottenham 7. Shots on target, United had 10, Tottenham Hotspur with just 1. Now, total touches inside the opposition box, Manchester United 37 to Tottenham 17. Goalkeeper saves, United 1, Spurs 8. Aerial duels 1, Manchester United 8, Spurs 4. Fouls committed, United 12, Tottenham Hotspur 11. And corners, United had 7. And Spurs had 0. United stay 4th in the Premier League. They now have 44 points from 25 matches. And Spurs remain 14th in the Premier League table with just 29 points from 25 games. Now, of course, our remaining fixtures in Feb. Newcastle at home on Tuesday at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And then in a couple of weeks' time, Arsenal at home at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Now, I'm going to go straight to the guests. We're going to go straight to Craig Dearman. Craig, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm not bad, Chris. I was better at about 12:30, and now again we have to sit here and talk about another defeat, which is it's a tough one. West Ham winning at the time of recording, 6 points between us and them. So yeah, it's not very good times.
We will get into it. Ricky Norwood is also back with us. Rick, how are you?
I am very well, my friend. Good to be on with you, lovely gentlemen. Good to be on with Rich. Ain't seen Rich in a long time, and always good to be on with all of you beautiful people around the world. We'll get into it. We're here. Let's jump in. Let's do the damn thing. You probably know what we're going to say. So, looking forward to jumping in, my friend.
And also back with us, Richard Whitehead, MBE. Rich, great to have you back with us. How are you?
Always a pleasure. It's getting a bit of a normal feeling, this is, isn't it? Chatting on the podcast about another terrible result, but it's good to be on the podcast as always, giving my views and my opinions, but also kind of voicing my frustrations as well.
Rich, let it all out. Let's start the show with you. Let's get your views and opinions on the game today, because in my opinion, I felt like it was a very, very even game. up until Romero's red card, which I know we'll get into and we will discuss that at length. But when you look here at this graphic, for those watching on YouTube, X and Facebook, the match momentum. Now, the graph view here, you will notice that the momentum was actually with Spurs at the time of the red card. Rich, overall, what did you make of today's game?
Yeah, overall, obviously, results very disappointing. I think, like you alluded to, we had those moments in that first half. And I think it's just a real frustration of how we kind of set up for some of the games. I just don't understand how we play, like, away and home very different, and a Champions League very different. Has the manager really got the backing of the board? Has he got the support of the players? Does he really understand the difference between playing a team like a Manchester United? And then also, I think a big frustration for me is the quality of players that we've actually got. You look at, obviously, Man United bringing on the players that they brought on, and then you look on ours, and then a lack of movement in January. I think I've been really frustrated for all of Frank's tenure, really. I wasn't a massive fan of him coming into the position. And I think this game was a real sum up of our season, that we've had, like, moments, but generally we've disappointed. And I think Romero's lack of discipline really did let the team down. Yes, I understand that. But also, you've got to look at the general style of play. Very disappointing still. Some of the players, I think as soon as that first goal went in, heads dropped a little bit. Then Thomas Frank tried to change some things around. But obviously, if you're making 3 substitutions at once, generally all those 3 substitutes going to be at it straight away. Proved it wasn't. All 3 substitutes came on, and obviously we went 2 down very quickly.
Do you think Timo Werner would have made a difference today, Rich?
Yeah, I think my favourite Tottenham player ever, Timo Werner, would have been like the. Obviously, those that have been on their pod before, I don't like Timo Werner at all. I think his way, and also he was useless generally. He was very useless. But at the moment, anybody would be better than some of these players we've got at the moment. And also, you need to look at a lot of the firsts that Frank's had in his reign. Like, we've lost to a lot of teams that it's been the first. Like, even like the Man United lost today. You just go, Man United, we were their bogey team at their home ground, and then all of a sudden they turned us over easy today. I think yes, obviously until the red card, it looked like it was quite an uneven game. But then you always felt that Man United were going to win because of the weapons that they had on the bench. I think their plan B was always going to be better than our plan B, and I think that recruitment's been very poor. I think messaging's gone very quiet from the board. I think Thomas Frank is running out of excuses, and clearly the fans like Chris that go to every home and away game deserve some answers around the style of play as well. I think the style of play is so terrible. Do you know one thing I noticed today? We got caught so many times wide. So many times wide today. And I was like going, are we not playing like 3 centre-backs? And then obviously those wingers are going to drop into a 5-1. We haven't got the ball. But we got caught so many times today. And the style of play is boring. I'm just getting bored of it. Absolutely bored of the style of play. It's time for a change. I said it weeks and weeks ago. It's time for a change.
Craig, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on today's defeat at Old Trafford.
Not just today. I mean, that's 2 wins in 16 now. It's just not good enough, regardless of the red card. I mean, it did affect the game 100%, but it was how we responded after that red card I was a bit disappointed with. There was no fire or, there was a lack of almost passion to to sort of get back into the game and think, all right, okay, we've had a man sent off, but let's just give it a go at least. And there was nothing in that second half, or literally from the moment Romero went off the pitch, there was just nothing. I think, to be honest, not many people have mentioned it, but for me, taking Odebear off really, I wouldn't have done that personally. I think that cut out the wide outlet for us. We obviously like to play down the wings, and taking Odebear off, I think, was a mistake personally. And because that we didn't have that outlet, as I say. We started off okay, definitely. I think the momentum thing can tell different stories. I think Manchester United were more on top than we were, but you're playing at Old Trafford against a resurgent Manchester United anyway, so it's always going to be a tough game, and we didn't look that bad, but it's just the way we responded after that red card. There was just nothing. And ultimately, football's a results business, and something's got to change. You can't blame Thomas Frank too much for today, I would say, because of the situation he was in, but he was in charge of the changes and the substitutions as well. So everybody has to kind of take the responsibility for that, because it does rest with the manager. But I come back to it and I agree with what Richard said. The recruitment strategy in January just wasn't good enough. We all know it wasn't good enough. It's clear to anybody watching that they don't fully back Thomas Frank, so they didn't back him in the transfer window. So if you're not going to back him, then sack him. We could have done more business. We should have done more business. And we're kind of left in this limbo situation where they're limping through the rest of the season with Thomas Frank. West Ham now being 2-0 up. They're 6 points behind us. By next weekend, we could be level on points with West Ham. We could be in 17th place. So actually, West Ham we got a far superior goal difference from West Ham, so we wouldn't quite be in 17th. But you know what I mean. It's just not looking good. It's not looking good at all. And yeah, I'm starting to get a little bit concerned now, because Newcastle's not going to be easy. I think we got a chance in that game, 100%. But obviously without Romero now for 4 games, and the North London derby next weekend. So yeah. Big games coming up. No games are easy games, and it's difficult to see light at the end of the tunnel at the moment, doesn't it?
I've heard and seen a lot of people, Craig, say Spurs are not going to get relegated. Are we in a relegation fight? Could we actually slip down into the bottom 3, or are we being a little bit dramatic? Because when you look at the fixtures, Newcastle at home, Arsenal at home are our next 2, which are to be played this month. There's no easy games in the Premier League. Where are Spurs' next points coming from?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, we spoke, didn't we, in the week, and I said to you, I don't think we're in a relegation battle. And Gareth on our group said, I think we need 9 points to make sure of safety. I didn't think that comment would ever come out this season, actually. I never thought we'd actually be talking about relegation. I don't think we can be that arrogant that we can't think that we're not in a relegation battle. I don't think we're in a battle at the moment, but I think we should be preparing for one, because, as you say, Chris, where are those wins and points going to come from? Where are we going to get 9 points between now and the end of the season? It's difficult to make an argument for any game at the moment, isn't it? And that's the worry. That's what we should be looking at. We shouldn't be looking at necessarily individual games. We should just be looking at, are we going to be getting 9 points between now and the end of the season? And it's difficult. It is really difficult.
We're in relegation form, though, aren't we? Do you look at the?
We are.
Obviously, the teams that are around us are picking up points. We're definitely not. I think fans should be seriously worried about the state of the club at the moment, and there's no solutions to these problems. That's the real issue from my point of view. I'm not hearing how we're going to get out of the form that we're in the league, and now that it's starting to obviously starting.
That's a good point, Rich. That's a good point. Look, that.
Go, Craig.
Yeah, no, sorry. I'm just put this thing on the screen, Rich, leaning on what you say. Look, the biggest thing that worries me, the squad does not have the balls for a relegation battle. That's a very good point, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure it is. For sure it is. And you look at the players that we've got that have been in those situations before, like none of them. And also, who do you think would kind of roll up the socks and really get stuck in if we were having to battle for a point, never mind 3 points, and that's the issue, isn't it? When I watch the games, I don't see Thomas Frank going, right, we've got this now, we're gonna hold it, we're gonna be solid. I don't see that with him. There's a flakiness. There's no dynamic approach from him as a manager, and that's a real worry for me with the team. And I don't think we've got warriors in the team apart from Romero, who is again a bit kamikaze. And again, we need those in midfield. I think, like I say, goals are drying up in that attacking third as well. And we've not got people to come off the bench to impact the game. Too many injuries. There's clearly a problem there still. We've had a problem there for the last 2 or 3 seasons. That needs to be addressed. Some real questions about why have we, over the last 2 or 3 seasons, had the worst injury crisis that we've ever had. And we need to look at the recruitment, because recruitment has been terrible, terrible. We shouldn't, after a transfer window, be playing a central midfielder in your back three after the game after that. You shouldn't be doing that. That should be alarm bells straight away. Why they've not addressed that, or why they've not thought, if this happens, we need to have somebody else in that position, because at the moment we are, especially now that Romero is obviously going to be banned. Was it 3 games? Is it
4?
4 games, yeah. Fucking hell. You know what I mean? It's like, holy crap.
Ricky, let's come to you. A 2-part question for you. What are your thoughts on today's performance and result? And also, how are you feeling right now as a Spurs fan? Because as Craig mentioned, I don't think we're being dramatic. And like Richard touched on there, we are in relegation form. The results haven't been good enough. These performances haven't been good enough. I think it's fair to say as well that, you know, the amount of injuries that we've got, and Udogie, of course, came off injured today. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. Sosa made his debut, but we will get into it. But, you know, Spurs need to, and also I think it's fair to say we knew how difficult Feb was going to be with these 4 fixtures. You know, 1 point out of a possible 6 so far, and 2 very tough games to come in Feb. But, you know, we need points on the board and fast, because, like Craig's also mentioned, you know, West Ham winning at the time of recording this, you know, we are now 6 points away from the relegation zone. And it does worry me a lot at the moment where we are going to pick up points. But, you know, going back to the original question, you know, thoughts on the game today and how you're feeling right now?
Wow. Okay. Thoughts on the game first. For me, I felt Man United played really, really well. I think Man United, and we love to use another club as an example. You know, Tottenham can never be the example. We always use other clubs for the example. And if you look at the example that Man United have set since Carrick has taken charge, you can see a major difference. Before the start of the game, I did have a bad feeling about this one, because their tails were up. They've got the momentum. They've got their mojo. They've got their swagger. And throughout the game, look, the first half, it was... We were getting back into it, and we was having flashes. And I think that we without the red card, I think we probably would have been a little bit more competitive. But if you look at the way Man United were playing throughout that 90 minutes, they were encouraged, they were motivated, they had their tails up. We're talking like one-touch passing. You're looking at Mainu. You're looking at their midfield. Casemiro and Mainu. They just kind of bullied us, really. And you could see that they were up for it, and they have definitely responded to the new manager. You can see where they were. It wasn't too long ago that they were in the doldrums under Amorim, and it's only been 4 games that Carrick's been in charge. You got to remember this. But they were in the doldrums, and they were just slightly above us. And I think Bournemouth was below us, and we was right in the middle, and we had an opportunity at that point. You know, tail end of December, January fixtures were all winnable fixtures, and we didn't show up in them ones when we had more players, when we had, more options on the bench. We held on, we time wasted at places like Brentford, and, You know, you look at the Fulham result, you look at, there's so many that we can go through and that we've spoken about before. And we didn't take those opportunities. We didn't put ourselves in a better light. Now, with 4 games, if we would have taken those 4 games and we would have won those winnable games, we would have been up there as well. But we haven't. And within that January period, not only did we have an untold amount of injuries again, but the board has failed. It almost feels that we've been lied to. You know, you're talking about 100 mil, 150 mil before we hit January. We all know how difficult January is, but put your money where your mouth is. Back your own chat. You can't come out 2 weeks into the transfer window before West Ham and then say, with a statement from Vinay, and say we're going to do this, that, and the other, and then not do a thing. You know, so we're in a terrible state in the league. We've known that. The board haven't helped Frank or the team. You've seen by Romero's comments that a lot of the players feel that they've been let down in a sense of the last 3 seasons, like Rich mentioned there, we've had astronomical, horrendous injuries, and you know, we hardly get any help. Last year, we had to wait until the day before deadline day to get Tel and Danzo over the line when we needed them for the whole of January last year. So I feel that they're coming out and they're feeling a bit let down right now from the board. You know, the board have probably promised A, B, and C and how we're going to move forward and all of this period of change. And all of us fans, you know, a lot of us fans have given them the period of grace to go, all right, and cool, come in and show us. And they haven't. You know, there's inaction in making a decision to sack Frank, you know, because he's had many sackable offences, many games that are sackable offences, and that hasn't happened. We've gone into January, we've middled and mangled and dilly-dallied amongst that January period. We haven't come out stronger. There were a few highlights. Europe's been a highlight, but we haven't come out stronger. And yes, there was a bit of back and forth in that first half, but you could tell as soon as the red card came out that everything kind of collapsed, and it was almost like we was waiting for them to score. They could have scored a bucketful today, really and truly, with their style of play and with how confident they were and how they believed in what Michael Carrick and their system of play. Suddenly you had players in the right positions, doing the right things, and it was coming off for them. And it just shows you, like, we was right in the middle of that. We could have gone on to where Man United are right now, but we didn't. And we're dropping like a stone. I've said since last year that we've been in relegation form in the sense of the way that we play football. I've looked at the style of football, and the only way I can describe it is relegation form. You know, waiting for an individual to spark something, waiting for an out of the ordinary goal, waiting for a quick counter attack. You know, there's been hoofing the ball, playing for long throws, playing for corners and stuff like that. It just hasn't been inspiring. It hasn't been what we sign up for as Tottenham fans, supporters to watch. But we're here. And so we're trying to get through it together. And after that red card today, it just kind of just fell to pieces. There is character amongst the boys. I do feel that there's character amongst them. I do feel that, you know, that there is some fight in them as well. I don't think that they've given up. I don't think that they've thrown their toys out of the pram or anything like that. I think they're trying to do the best that they can do as professionals to follow Frank's plan. But a lot of the time, Frank's plan doesn't work. Today, I can't really blame Frank too much. You can see that they wanted to come out and play football to start with. And I thought it was a promising start, but we didn't build on it. And we've gone down to 9 men before and we've shown up. We've gone down to 9 men before and we've fought. And we've gone, all right, and cool, we're going to give you a game. There were a couple of flashes, but ultimately, you could tell throughout that game, or I felt throughout that game, that Man United was always going to win it. I was really optimistic up until they were in the tunnel. And then I just got this sudden feeling and I was just like, oh, today's going to be a bad day. And I was hoping that I was going to be wrong. But today was another bad day. How am I feeling about it all? Apoplectic, my friend. Almost despondent. Almost like Rich said earlier, like this is normal. Like it's become normal what we're going through. I've tried to look at it with fresh eyes from the start of the year. That lasted 7 days before I was cussing again. I've tried to give everybody a chance. I've tried to go, all right, and cool. We're selling Brennan Johnson. We must be bringing somebody in. We must be bringing somebody into. We've already short on the left. We're going into the transfer window. We knew that, but selling a right winger, you're kind of going, all right, and cool. You must be doing something with that money. We didn't. So, that Brennan Johnson money got spent on Gallagher. I think there's some bright sparks from Gallagher. You can see some energy in him, and I think he's a player with character too. He's getting up the field. He's trying to make things happen. But ultimately, Chris, we don't really work as a team. It's not a full 11 going out there to, implement a plan or if they are going out there to implement it, they're not confident within that plan. It seems very kind of wishy-washy, my friend.
Can I just add to that, Chris, as well?
Go
I think
for it.
Ricky is totally right there. I think when you look at the team, lots of individuals, no real team, no replacement of players that have either moved on or like Sonny, for instance, no replacement for him on that side.
It's not even that, Rich. Rich, we knew in the summer about Maddison, and we knew that we didn't have Kulusevski. And their medical department has known what has happened with Kulusevski. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this, and you probably got some more insight into it, but from the medical side, right, I watched this, there was a YouTube thing on, and it was a medical guy from Tottenham. And he was saying that these guys have never seen a knee injury like it. He shattered his whole kneecap, right? So it's in pieces. It was the impression that I got. And they've never seen something like this, right? And we've been promised that Kulu's coming back October, November, December, by the end of January, by the end of February. I don't think we're seeing him this year. But those medical people knew what was happening with Kulu. The board also knew what was happening with Kulu. We know that Maddison's out until probably this season. If he comes back for the last couple of games, wicked. But we've been in this position so many times, and we've failed to act on it. We've failed to do the things that we're supposed to do. And coming into January, it's another neglect, my friend. We had how many full? I think it was like 5 or 6 players full in January, and there ain't no action there. And you've left us in this position now. So it's a mishmash. Sorry, Rich, crack on.
No. And I think, like I say, if we're playing Sunday, Wednesday as well with Champions League, what the board expecting from the players? Obviously, the manager's not been backed like Craig alluded to, and it's clearly like the fatigue's going to get into these players, and the more knocks they get, the more time they're going to have away from the pitch, and obviously the players are now really frustrated because they've not got the players to come in with the same kind of quality. And if you've noticed, obviously, even down to the bench, more and more of those under 23 players are getting on the bench because we've got nobody else to fill them. And it's not, you want obviously to see the under 23s getting obviously the opportunities, but earning those opportunities, not just filling the bench. It's really frustrating. I honestly thought that they would go into the January market and even get just some loan. And there was loads of opportunities, loan deals. There were 6 month players that needed to have game time before the World Cup that could have added some quality to the team we've got now, because clearly the players that we've got are not doing that, or they're just kind of just going through the motions, because I'm not seeing the kind of fight that I should be seeing for a team that is, whether it's my team or not, that's in this kind of struggle. And I tell you, everybody will be saying, media, other fans of other teams will be saying Spurs are in a relegation fight. So
we are, mate.
Yeah,
no, we are.
If we think we're not, we're deluded.
No, we are, mate. Like, we've been playing relegation football for a long time, and now we're in that mix. We haven't been able to beat the ones below us. We haven't been able to beat the ones above us. Do you know, like, and if you look at those below us as well, what really kind of like done me in a little bit was that Langer interview. And it's not even, he said this thing where, you know, not everybody done so much business. There was 33 transfers across the whole. Why did you go and find that stat to try and justify your stance?
Exactly.
I don't care about any other team in this league. I do not. I don't care about watching them. I don't care about what they do. I only care about what Tottenham are doing. And he knew, and that board knew what situation we was in. And with our injuries and with everything else in the position of the league that we're in, and they done nothing. There's been inaction, my friend. You can't tell me you got 150 mil sitting there and not act and not do a thing. So when you come out of stuff like that, it winds me up, bro. And this is where
bullshit. It's bullshit. It's a bullshit stat. You're dead right. I never even thought about that. He's gone away and actually looked that up, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that some of the other teams didn't need as much help as we did. So that's not an excuse. It's utter bullshit. And then Frank coming out and saying that, you know, the board and everything, they've been working hard and they've been doing really well. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely sick of it. And people saying today, you can't, that's not on Frank. I'll give him that. Absolutely. 100%. It wasn't Romero stupid challenge. It was a red card. But you've got to look at the bigger picture. Come on. How many games have we lost this season? How many games have we won? It's just not good enough for this club. And we are heading towards a relegation battle. We shouldn't be in a relegation battle. Something's got to change. Something's got to change soon. They're limping along with Thomas Frank, hoping to put a sticking plaster over a broken bone. And that's all they're doing. And I'll tell you what, the next two games, if we don't get anything out of the next two games, we are well in it. We are well in it. And they've got to act. They should have acted months ago. They should have got rid of Thomas Frank because it's not working. He's never going to work under this manager. But they persist with this backing of the manager when they're clearly not backing him, because that's ridiculous in itself. They say we're backing him, Thomas Frank, and then they're not giving him the players. So what does that tell you? It's just ridiculous. The whole thing in this club, everyone's aligned. What are you aligned to? The same bloody sandwich that you're having in your meetings. Nice chicken sandwich and get on with it. I'm done with it. It's absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. It's not good enough for this club. It's not good enough for the fans. And people should be screaming that they want change. Well, we are screaming that we want change because something's got to change, or else we are going to have the best stadium in the Championship next season. And that is actually a reality. It's not like pie in the sky now. Something needs to change.
It does. The only thing that I was going to finish with. Sorry, Chris. I know. Sorry, we're in it now, ain't we? But you look at the decision, right? You look at the decision of taking off Odebear, which you guys have already highlighted, right? For me, you take off Archie Gray. You put Paulinho right back. You take off Archie at that point because, like you guys said, at 9 men down, you need somebody that can hold on to the ball, dribble, and give them something to worry about. Help the midfield move the ball up the field to get it to those that are dangerous. We know what we can do once we put it into to Solanke. We know what he can do holding the ball, bullying, giving it to others, but abject. If you take off Odebear and you leave, it was consolidation rather than, okay, cool, we're in a bind, but we still need to get the ball up. We still need to trouble them so that they've got something to think about. But we didn't. We gave them all the space in the world. Do you know what I mean? Again, we don't defend long shots because supposedly the XG, you don't score too many long shots. But how many have we conceded? So it's such a. We're in such a mess right now. Sorry, Chris.
Mate, it's so frustrating. Sorry, Chris. We've taken over there.
Sorry.
That's all right. I know probably it's not what you want to hear, Craig, but we're now going to hear from Thomas Frank talking about today's game. So it is Frank for the next 5 minutes or so.
It's obvious to say the game kind of hinged on one moment. What did you make of the red card?
First, I think we started the 30 minutes well. I think it was a good away performance, very even against Man United team in flow and playing with confidence. So happy with that. Of course, the red card changed the momentum. Very proud of the players in general, but proud of them the last 60 plus whatever 10 injury minutes. How they show resilience, stayed in the game, didn't crumble, kept fighting, and still created some moments where we could, maybe have created that goal. Then of course it's when we then did the 3 positive subs with 15-20 minutes to go, he scored straight after. The red card is a red card. I watched it now back 5 times. Kuti clearly tried to go for the ball. Unfortunately, just moved before, and then it's a red card.
Problem for him, obviously. I think this is his 4th suspension this season. 4 games he's going to lose him for as well. How do you kind of take any recklessness out of his game while keeping the aggression?
I think it's if you look at how many red cards he has had, it's not like he had that many throughout his career. And you play with passion and you play with aggression, and there's a fine line when you do that.
He's got the most in the Premier League since he arrived at the club.
At the club, yeah, but not in Premier League.
Of Premier League players, I think.
Of Premier League players. Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Can I ask just about Destiny Doggies? Any word on what that is? Is it hamstring?
We will assess him tomorrow. So of course I will probably see you guys in 2 days time or less. Then we'll know more. We'll assess him tomorrow.
Thomas, Christian's red card obviously comes a few days after what happened after the transfer week. Is there any regret in making him captain?
No, there's not. And also he was also sorry for the incident. He said, apologise to his teammates in the changing room. No, I think he's one of the most important players, and I think when he performed top, he's driving the team.
At the back, please.
Thomas, just on this, he's not helping the team at the moment. If he gets sent off for 28 minutes at Old Trafford, with greatest respect, not helping the team, not helping you, especially with some of the disgraceful comments. It's his 2nd red card, I think, in 10 games for you. Just for the team's sake, but actually for the players' sake, might it be better not to make him captain, just to sort of take that focus and let someone else who maybe keep a bit calmer where they are at?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say I don't think I have any intention to get a red card after 28 minutes. So what? Sorry.
Maybe that makes it worse if he doesn't know what he's doing.
I think that's your perception. Yeah.
So you're not going to consider at least maybe taking the armband from him?
No.
Okay. Hi, Thomas. Just with red cards, injuries piling up, etc. How do you sort of keep the team motivated and tell them that the corner is going to turn eventually?
Yeah, I think what I'm very happy with the players and what they're showing. I think they actually show a lot of resilience, because it's very, very tough to get out there every week and don't get enough of the good results. But I think of course we can't run away from that. We haven't won enough in the Premier League. We're just coming on the back end of 4 good games where we also showed a lot of resilience. Before that we also did it, but we didn't get enough of the results where we turned it around second half. So I think there's still a lot to hang the hat on in terms of resilience. But of course the performances need to be backed up with a little bit, do more, and get a little, keep doing the right things, because then results will turn.
I know you sometimes speak about you need to get sugar at the end of the hard work. So do you and the players can see enough sugar to keep going?
I think there's no other alternative than keep going. I think that's fair to say, which we will do, of course. But of course, is in life and football, there's very tough times, and then in the very tough times, there's head down, stand up, face it, keep going. There's no other way. And that's what the players are doing, and I think they show it every single week. And the good thing is, I think actually, as I said, there was just Dortmund and Frankfurt, 2 good performances result. Second half very good against City. There was more good than positive against Burnley. I know we want to win it. I think the resilience the players showed today, in terms of where it's so easy to crumple, so easy to go out there and lose 5-0. They just stayed in the game throughout, had a chance to come back into it. So I think they show a lot.
Simon, final one, please.
Thomas, you're having to sit here and defend Christian, which you have. What has he said to you? I know you've said he's apologised, but like in that moment, he's supposed to be leading. What has he said to you? Because he's let you down.
hasn't spoken specific about this situation because he apologized to the players and there's to us, to the players, to the team in there. And that's enough for me for now. Then there's how can you say, that's it. Nothing more to do now.
Okay. So he can't play for you now in the league until the middle of March. Given the number of absentees you've got, that is not helping the situation at all, is it?
Nope. Doesn't.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Craig, let's come to you on Thomas Frank's comments. He said there, very tough times. We keep going. And it would have been easy to go out there and lose 5-0. Thomas Frank seems to be extremely calm about the situation right now.
He does. I mean, he did snap back a couple of times there at reporters, didn't he? I mean, the thing is, he's got to stay calm, hasn't he? He can't lose. He doesn't seem the sort of person that's ever going to lose his rag. He's not a Conte or Mourinho. If that had been Conte today, then I think it would have blown up. To be honest with you, you obviously didn't know the stat about Romero there and the red cards. I just think I do worry actually that if he was my manager, that he would inspire me in the dressing room. That's the thing. I'm just not sure he's an inspiring character. And it says there on the screen, since making his Tottenham debut in August 2021, Christian Romero has been sent off 6 times in all competitions, more than any other Premier League player during that time. He joins Yunus Kabul as the only player to be sent off 4 times for Spurs in the Premier League. Yeah, doesn't help. At a time like this, we need all the players we can get, and now we've lost our captain for 4 games.
Ricky, let's come to you, and feel free to have your comments on Thomas Frank and what he said this afternoon as well when we come to it. After just 36 seconds of the game today, Mbeumo shot over the bar. The Spurs fan base, the Spurs away end, was singing a number of times today. Johnson again, particularly as we were playing Manchester United after beating them in the Europa League final in May. A minute later, the Spurs end were actually singing Mauricio Pochettino's name, which I thought was very, very interesting just after 7 minutes. And things weren't going badly for Spurs at that point, because I say that point is because in the last away game at Turf Moor against Burnley, only when things were going wrong were the Spurs fans singing Mauricio Pochettino's name. So I thought that was very, very interesting. After 11 minutes, Casemiro with a long-range shot, Vicario saved. A minute later, and it was our only shot on goal, a great move of Javi Simmons to Conor Gallagher, and that was our first and only shot on goal of the game. After 20 minutes, a great move from Manchester United. Cunha shot just wide. 3 minutes later, another good move from Manchester United. Fernandes shooting wide. On 27 minutes, Bruno Fernandes again shooting from 25 yards. A fantastic block from Christian Romero. And then a minute later, Ahmad, he was just so fast, Udogie got a yellow card. And then a moment later, Christian Romero with a red card. Let's go straight in on the game, talking about the incident with Christian Romero and the red card. Ricky, in your opinion, did Romero let the team down today?
I mean, fundamentally, yes, but we do need those type of characters in there. Romero is passionate. He is very fiery. He does take a loss very badly. He's like a disrupted kid in a classroom. Like all the good ones are getting on with the studying, but you've got one in the back that is just like la 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 la. Pay attention to me. When they can't get their maths question right. Do you know what I mean? So he is very passionate about things, and we have seen this. He could have made the tackle and not followed through, but that is part of Romero as well. He's made a bad challenge. It's mistimed, and he has let the team down, especially after those comments last week, because it almost, whether you agree with what he said or not, he was speaking from a place of hurt. Do you know what I mean? He was speaking from a place where a lot of us fans feel that the board have let the club down many a time. Do you know what I mean? And And so you want your captain to come out and go, all right, and cool, I'm going to show you what I'm about. But he's ended up piling on the pressure because, you know, not only did he get sent off, but now he's missing for 4 games. Those are really crucial games that we've got coming up where we really needed Romero at his best, really, to get us out of this kind of fight, you know, or to get us ahead of the game a little bit. But he's done that, and it's been an example of our season, bro, where, like, you know, like, just things ain't going right. We're not getting the rub of the green. Things ain't falling for us, and it's just another bit of rubbish on top of the pile. And we've got to kind of stick with it. We've got to kind of hope and pray that something's going to happen in the next game, and in the next game, and in the next game. It's a really sorry state of affairs. But again, it's now about standing up. It's now about what character is in that side, and what fight is in that side. Do they want to be down there? Do they want to be the butt of the joke, or have they kind of just accepted their fate? I think there's a massive difference between how Sonny captained the side and how Romero captains the side. Now, we know Sonny is a class act, right? Class human being, class man. And we had that. Even though we was going through desperate times last year, we had that class within him, and he brought everybody together. I think with Romero being as petulant as he is in that sense, I think that type of energy also spreads, and we've seen that throughout the team. Everyone's been having a go at one point or another. Now, whether that's back at us fans or on the pitch or towards the manager, you've seen that there's been discontent throughout our season, and nothing. You know, those that are in charge have done nothing to help change that and help turn the tanker, as Frank said a couple of weeks ago. Do you know what I mean? So it's really, we're in a really tough position. I've got to give it to Frank that he looks like a fighter. He looks like he believes in what he's doing, and he's standing up to all of the questions. And you know, whether we believe that it's the right thing to do or not is a different scenario. But he believes it, and he's standing and he's backing his own philosophy and his own way of playing. So that's good for him personally, and for him not to crumble. But you can see, as Rich said before the show, it's getting very, very draining, and Frank looks like he's drained too. We had a real opportunity after that Europa League win to kick on, and every single time that Tottenham have an opportunity to kick on, we always make the wrong decisions. We always go in the wrong direction. We never kind of jump while the iron is hot and build on that. We always let it die and have to start again. And it's just a really sorry state of affairs, man. I feel that the crowd where you was talking there singing about Pochettino, and things were going okay at that point. But I think the crowd and the fan base have had enough, and we can't do nothing about it. I think we've all accepted the fact that Frank ain't going nowhere until at least the end of the season. Hopefully, you know, so we get another manager in the summer, and we can kick on, where we'll only have one game a week, you know, and maybe that will help us. Maybe that will help us reset. I don't know, but when you hear about the reports on deadline day that Monaco had the replacement for Akliouche, they've signed him, and we would have had to pay 50 to 52 mil to get Akliouche at that point. But then the board decided no, they didn't want to pay January prices. They feel that they can get him for 30 to 35 million in the summer. You go, come on, guys. Like, you've got that 150 sitting there, burning a hole in your pocket. And the team needs help. It needs inspiration. It needs new voices in there. It needs somebody that's going to help us get up the field. But it's our transfer strategy is so scattergun. If you look at Man United, at least in the summer, they knew what their problem was: goals. and they went and got Cunha, Mbuemo, and Sesko. They went and spent big money on those three to try and remedy them scoring goals and them being more proficient up front. We knew what we needed going into January. That's before the injuries arrived. We knew what we needed, and we still couldn't even jump on that. You know, it's very scattergun right now. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where we are. But it's just, we see which Jekyll and Hyde Tottenham turn up in the next game and in the next game. And we can only hope and pray for the best and hope that these players have had enough of being down there at the bottom and find some gumption and you know, grab their own cojones and go at it. But it's just a sad time, Chris, because Man United look like the ones that had won that trophy last year. When you look at their transfer policy and where they were going, and then even then they were going down the wrong road with Amorim for so long. They made that tough, difficult decision, paid him off, and got in Carrick. And 4 games, you've seen such a world of difference. And it's always, when I look at Tottenham, it's always what could have been, what should have been. And I'm so tired of it. I'm tired of tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow we'll get it. Tomorrow we'll do it. In the summer we'll do it. In the winter we'll do it. Tomorrow, mañana, all the damn time. And I'm so fed up of it, bro. You know, I get to that point where I'm agreeing with those fans that have said for years that ENIC basically were the problem, you know. ENIC had an opportunity to let all of the past 20 odd years go with Levy and show us something different. They were talking like they were going to do something different. There's been, like you've said many a time, Chris, there's been mass change from top to bottom. But the one thing that hasn't changed, their inaction. You know, the decisions that they make on a footballing side, those things haven't changed. They've still left us destitute and neglected, bro. And I'm just at a point where I'm just like, you know, I think we need major change.
Ricky, just quickly, we've heard Johan Langer in the last week. You've mentioned about Vinay's message and statement to the fans a couple of weeks ago, pre-West Ham game. Thomas Frank has come out and said that the owners are very ambitious. Do you believe that it's going to be a very different window and an ambitious time for Tottenham in the summer? Do you believe that? Because it's fair to say as well that Vinay has come out and said it's not just about words, it is about actions. He's actually said those words himself.
Yeah, he said a lot of words, and there's been a lot of words spoken, but I'm at a point where I don't believe a word of what they're saying. I need to see it. So the same way that he's talking about actions and not words, well, show me. Give me something to hang on to. Give me something to cheer you about. You know, I've always tried to give credit to the board when they've done something right. I've been one of those that I've not really wanted new owners. I've just wanted our owners to do better, you know. And like I say, we had this period of grace where this new board could have blamed a lot on Levy, and including the manager. They could have, you know, blamed a lot on Levy, and they could have shown us something different in January. They did not. They left us weaker than how we went in. Why was we so quick to sell Brennan? 35 mil, right? That's 10 mil short of what we paid for him. And he was our top goal scorer and got the winning goal. You know, that should bump up the price. But if you're going to get rid of him for 35, then you've got to tell me that somebody else is coming in better. And that was my hope, and that was my belief. And because I believed what they were saying going into that January window. Now I can't believe a word of what they say, my friend. I've got to wait and see. Show me what you're about, and then I'll back you. But mate, right now it's just all words. What Langer says, words. Paratici hanging on for the whole window. What for, mate? They took away all of his power. You know, how many... Chris, you were doing a transfer window show every single day. We know what a Paratici transfer window looks like. He's got 18 plates spinning at the same time. We're linked to everybody. We're linked to 4, and then we pick 1, right? You know about how many links did we have? We didn't. It was so damn quiet. You know, you and Craig were talking about like if they was gonna sign top bins over here. Do you know what I mean? You wasn't talking about anybody else. So it's like, what are we talking about here? You know, the crowd has started to entertain themselves by singing songs about Soldado and Poch and Aaron Lennon and you know, we've started to entertain ourselves with you know with the top bins goal and Craig, you know, creating songs, and so we've started to like just take the Berties and try and find some joy in other things right now. Where football, and I know for these gentlemen on here, football is life for us. Do you know what I mean? It is. We spend our days, our nights, our afternoons thinking and reading and consuming, and we're at this point right now. So it's about they've got to show it to me, Chris. I can't take anything what they say anymore. They're almost like politicians right now. I don't believe a word. Don't care what party you come from. I don't believe a word. You have to show me.
Rich, let's come to you, and I just want to give you and Craig the opportunity to talk about the red card as well of Romero, and what do you make of Romero's situation right now as well, Rich? Because the comments that he came out with post Bournemouth game, the comments that he's come out with, you know, within an hour of the window closing online. I know that's had a mixed review, but most Spurs fans, I think it's fair to say that the majority of Spurs fans have actually agreed with a lot, if not everything, that Romero has written online. But on the pitch today, particularly games like this, and the stat that Craig read out about how many red cards that Romero's had as a Spurs player since signing for us in 2021, we need a captain that is going to be calm. We need a captain that is going to lead by example. And I feel like Romero today has really let himself down, the teammates down, because as we've spoken about, as we've alluded to as well, the fact that it was a very even game today up until that point.
Yeah, and then obviously you throw into the mix that the referee historically has always like favoured the opposition. I think there's many occasions where he's very quick with the cards. I always when I see or hear that he's going to manage our team, I'm a little bit wary of players like Romero. He's always wanting to flash the cards quite early. The tackle was a red card. If you look at it from head on, actually connect with the ball and the player in that aggressive manner off the floor and follow through, and that massively affected the game. I think when you're talking about leaders and captains within the team, you want somebody to be able to affect the team, but also calm the team down, manage the team, bring the team forwards. I think is he the right manager, captain for the team? I think because of his reckless manner, for me, it wouldn't be the case. The other respect, obviously, he scored more goals than he has in previous seasons this year because of obviously maybe the responsibility that's taken on board. But then, yeah, other players haven't really responded to that captaincy, I don't think. So maybe they've relied on him doing that.
Rich, as far as the red card goes, do you have an issue with it? Because even Frank said there, he's seen it back 5 times. He doesn't have an issue with it. I don't have an issue with it. I think it is a straight red card because I've seen a lot of people very frustrated saying it's a soft red card. And I've seen a lot of pictures of particularly Manchester United players, challenges on other opposition players, you know, for previous games, because I think we could all 4 of us, including, you know, a lot of the people watching and listening, we could all bring up a number of instances, you know, in the last couple of years, certainly with VAR and refereeing being so inconsistent. But I think that is the problem. But do you yourself have a problem with it being a red card today?
No. Like I said it was a red card decision, and I think he could have made that challenge without the follow through and without the commitment that he made. And Casemiro as well, rolling around the floor. again, it's the building up to that red card as well. Obviously, there was some intricacies with the play at that point. There was quite a few kind of challenges going in at that moment, and then obviously Romero's trying to kind of clatter Casemiro, and obviously he's given the referee a decision to make, and obviously I think if he would have given a yellow card at that point, he'd have been sent to the monitor, shown that Stiller that challenge, and it would have been a straight red anyway. I think that was what I thought I had in my head, and that had a massive impact on the game. But it was a build up to that. Obviously, the comments that he made, clearly Frank had words with him. He's then still the captain, and then obviously it's an away game. It's against Manchester United. Manchester United are playing well at the moment. He feels he's got to showcase that he is the captain, and everything came to a head with that challenge. The frustration for me as well is like you say, it's like this. If he's not doing that, what else is he adding at the back that creates that kind of stability? I think at the moment you kind of look at the amount of games we've lost, the amount of goals we've conceded. We talk a lot about that centre back pairing. Is that really working though? Is that really working as well as we actually think as Spurs fans? Van der Ven and Romero, the best centre back pairing in the league last season. Not obviously. But for me, I think it's not working because of how he plays, and on the limit he's playing all the time. I just think it puts the team in a predicament every game. Are we better without him? Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Romero in this state of mind now where he probably wants out of the club, and that was something that I was also going to mention probably about 10 minutes ago, is after the transfer window shut, there was clearly some players that wanted either loan moves away from the club or out of the club. The Teller this world, Dragishin, people like that Frank was saying, actually, we can't lose any more players. When you're keeping those players in the club, that also affects the positivity of the players. You're keeping the players in when they're obviously wanting to leave, and that negativity as well as bad form of play on the pitch also is starting to contribute towards the indiscipline that we're seeing for some of the players.
Craig, let's come to you. We know after Romero's recent comments in Thomas Frank's press conference ahead of this game against Manchester United at Old Trafford, he had 38 questions in the press conference. 25 of those 38 questions were about Romero's post and whether Spurs would be suspending him or fining him. How should Thomas Frank have dealt with this situation? Because he's come out and said, a number of times in that press conference, in the broadcast section and the two embargoed sections, that we've dealt with it internally. He kept repeating that same phrase. We have dealt with it internally. What do you think has actually happened in the background? Do you think that he has just had another talking to from someone like Vinay or Johan Langer or even Thomas Frank himself? What do you think's actually happened and what should have happened in your opinion?
He probably just did get a talking to be honest with you. A few people were saying he should have been he should have been suspended or should have had the captaincy stripped off him. This is obviously not the first time, as you say. It's twice this month, really. He's come out on social media and criticised. And yes, look, he could have just been using Google Translate or something, and certain words could have been misinterpreted. But you'd think of a player like Christian Romero, when he's the Spurs captain, would have that checked by somebody, if that is the case, that he's actually in the right context. So the club probably hate it. Well, we know they would hate things like that. He's criticising the board. He's criticising the hierarchy. What do I think should have happened? now after this sending off, you could turn around quite easily and say, strip him of the captaincy. I don't think that would actually achieve anything if you do that. I really don't. You've only got to look back in the 90s at Roy Keane, players like that, aggressive players. How many times did Roy Keane get sent off in his career? You wouldn't have stripped Roy Keane of the captaincy of Manchester United. So I just think Christian Romero is one of those characters. He's a bit of a loose cannon. But he's actually said, as you said, Chris, exactly what a lot of Tottenham fans were thinking, to be honest with you. And I don't mind to see that from my captain, to be honest with you. Regardless of whether he should come out and say it, he said what everybody wants to hear.
I think that's right. I think the majority, if not all of the Spurs fans, are in agreement with him. But of course, it's not making Thomas Frank's life any easier, is it? And when a incident like today happens, of course, we need points on the board, not keep being, dropping down in the Premier League table and being closer to a relegation fight. I think that is the big issue right now. And I feel like a captain does need to act in a certain way and not be so hot-headed on the pitch. Craig, what did you make of the red card overall?
100%. It was a red card. You can't deny it. It was. It wasn't like the referee got it wrong. I can't say anything else other than what the other guys have said. It was a red card. It was a reckless challenge. He didn't need to do it. Some people said it's just a natural reaction of your foot going through. It wasn't. It was deliberate on Casemiro. Obviously, them two have got history, the Brazilian and the Argentinian coming together. So I think that's something to do with it. I haven't got any problems with it. It was a red card, totally reckless by Romero, because it certainly didn't help matters in today's game. So haven't got a problem with it. It was the right decision.
You know what, Chris, 1 minute. You know what? Because some fans I've heard over this week have said that, maybe Romero wants out. Maybe he said this to get a pathway out and make it easier for him to be sold in the summer. Some have said about Mickey van der Ven wanting to leave as well, right? We've heard that a lot. Rich was alluding to some of those that wanted to get out on loan or on transfer in the January window. And what troubles me is this, okay? The amount of times that we have had a player that has been of high quality, that has wanted to leave, and all of us Tottenham fans don't blame him. You look at Sonny leaving, you look at Kane leaving, you go, you know what? I don't blame him for leaving, because we was in such a state and we never built around him. Every time that we've had somebody, Gareth Bale, Modric, Carrick, Teddy Sheringham, I could go on all day long about the quality players that we had in this side, and we've never built around them. So even if Romero and Mickey want out, right, it's a poor indictment of what is happening at the club, that us as fans will go, you know what, Romero, I totally get it. If you want to kick, you know what, Mickey, if you want to go and, it used to be about the trophies, but now it's about how nasty and rotten our club is. That I hate having that feeling of it's okay that you can go, because we know how bad it is and all the decisions that have happened upstairs. Again, right, we need that to shift. We need to start being able to build around players that we see as quality, or we see that can take us further. And if you build around them, they are more inspired to continue to fight and go, you know what, you're actually backing. That's what backing is. I think that's where Romero's frustration is. He's probably even said, we're going to get 2 world-class players in here. We're up in the level. We're going to do this. We're going to do that.
Ricky,
nothing has happened. Go on, Samchan.
I don't think that any of us Spurs fans can argue with that, because, all 4 of us, everyone watching, everyone listening, we're all very ambitious as fans. We want the very best for our club. And I feel that Romero is in that exact camp as well. He wants the very best. He's a World Cup winner. He plays with some of the best players in the world on international duty. He wants that at club level as well. He's the captain. He, of course, is speaking out, whether the club like it or not, whether Thomas Frank likes it or not. He is speaking, as somebody who wants the club to show ambition. And we, of course, have all liked that, because he's saying exactly how we feel. I don't think that any of us can argue with that at all. But what I'm saying is, today we need points. We need points on the board to move up that Premier League table. There is still a chance of Spurs getting a European spot. Some people might laugh at that statement today, but there is still a chance. Mathematically, there is still a chance. I get Richard's frustration, I get Craig's frustration, and of course you, Ricky, in the fact that, the January window, I've said it on a couple of media interviews in the last couple of days. It's very, very disappointing. It always seems to be about that next window. We're told we're going to be ambitious in the summer. It seems to me like this season has almost been a write-off to say, well, we finished 17th last year. We're in a transition season, which we've heard Thomas Frank say a number of times. That isn't good enough. I feel like we need to be finishing in the European spot every single season, every single year, without question or doubt. No matter who the manager is, no matter who the players are, Spurs should always be competing for a top European spot. And, we were told after that Europa League win, we need to be fighting on all fronts. And that is why Ange Postecoglou got the sack. So I don't question that at all, what Romero's done. I just feel like the club don't like what he's done. I get that as well. Perhaps some things should have been said internally and dealt with internally, and Romero takes to social media yet again. Perhaps they have been done internally. Perhaps Romero has had those conversations internally and said, look, this isn't good enough. And then he's thought, the last resort is, I'll tell the whole world how I feel. That hasn't gone down well at the football club, but it's gone down very well with the fans. So, as Craig mentioned, that word aligned, I don't think things are quite as aligned as Thomas Frank probably thinks right now. Craig, let me come back to you. Let's talk about United's first goal in the 38th minute. Mbeumo, of course, is a player that Spurs wanted to sign in the summer. We've seen this with Semenyo. We've seen this with other players that Spurs have been linked with. And then, of course, they score against us. What did you make of the goal in the 38th minute?
He was straight off the training ground for United's perspective. And as you can see in that first picture, there's two players on the edge of the boxes. I think Ricky said, this is an area where Thomas Frank doesn't seem to think that it's a problem. I wouldn't say it was a far out goal, but it's he's run from a far out position, essentially outside the box anyway. And it was just a well-worked goal. It was so easy for United. I can't believe that Spurs are not putting anybody on the edge of the box to mark somebody like Mbeumo. That is ridiculous to me. Very, very poor conceded goal from Spurs. As I say, well worked by United, but I just can't believe they'd leave somebody like Mbeumo unmarked on the edge of the box. It's just crazy, crazy defending, and we've seen it a few times this season. And we've scored. We've had a goal conceded yet again, so preventable, to be honest with you, because that's just a poor defensive setup, in my opinion.
Ricky, what did you make of the goal, the first goal that we conceded? And also on that point that Craig mentions there, I feel like I've said this a number of times, particularly in recent games, where the opposition now seem to be having a lot of pop shots, long-range efforts against us. Vicario had a good game today, and without him, it could have been a lot more than 2-0. But teams seem to, set up now to have these long-range efforts against us.
Yeah, because it's encouraged. It's encouraged. We encourage them to do that, and it's worked for many a team this season. They've scored from outside the box. They know by putting pressure on, they're either going to get a corner out of it or a set piece out of it, or they're going to get, they're going to create chaos within that box and see what happens. This goal today was it was too easy. It just felt too easy. It felt like everybody was standing still. And it's one of those things where, I've said on here, and this is just my personal preference, I'm not really a fan of the back three. I think the back three is supposed to look solid, but it always creates confusion, I feel that whoever's in that back three, they always thinking that somebody else has got it, the guy behind them, and that ends up leaving space. Yes, at this point, Romero's been sent off. And you could maybe argue, if there was another player there, would he be challenging or would he be running that player down? But we've seen in the past, the evidence shows that because we don't think that we can score from long range shots, we don't defend long range shots. Now, Dustin done a whole piece on that. Big up Dustin. Dustin done a whole slideshow. He broke it down for 20 minutes of what was happening tactically. And the fact that we don't consider those those long shots as a priority or as something that we bring into our game, it also means that they switch off in moments like this because they don't believe that they're going to concede them, even though we've conceded 17 of them already this season. So it was just too easy. It was too easy, my friend. And you know, I've said it many a time, but I just think that all of the things that Thomas Frank came in to do, he's failed on. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't see any gumption. Do you know what I mean? I've seen flashes. There are, you know, Europe's been a highlight because we've got a little bit more space. There's not too much intensity. Like the pace is different. So we've looked better in those last two games, you know, Dortmund and Frankfurt. And that second half at Man City, but it's very, I don't know, mate. It's very once there's nothing to lose, then the chains come off and the shackles come off and they end up just going to play football, and we've looked better. But in this one, I just think everybody just look. It could have been 3, 4, or 5, and Frank's right in that sense where they could have collapsed. They didn't collapse, but the plan to do anything meaningful was not there, or it wasn't really believed in, or we kept doing the same things as we've done in many a games. When we pass it, we will just knock it forward and allow Man United to pick up the ball and continue their attack. Or we'll pass into a player where Man United have got two of their players standing in front of him, so the pass just goes straight to him, and then they're on the attack again. So there's all of these things, bro. There's all of these things. It was just too easy a goal to concede, but it's almost like I'm used to it now, which I shouldn't be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Just before the half-time break, Casemiro had a header. Vicario with a huge save went against the bar. And then in stoppage time, a great ball over the top, Ahmad running onto it, and Vicario out. Great goalkeeping. Now, half-time, it was 1-0. Now, on 49 minutes, a good move from Manchester United again, resulting in Ahmad scoring, but it was disallowed due to offside. A couple of minutes later, Casemiro shot, comfortable for Vicario at this point, and then Udogie going off injured after 55 minutes. New signing Sosa coming on. Richard, let's talk a little bit very quickly about the injury record at Tottenham, because if Udogie is out now, this just adds to the growing injury concerns at Tottenham Hotspur. And as I've mentioned a couple of times already on the show, you know, Newcastle at home on Tuesday. You know, we are literally down to bare bones.
Yeah, what do you want me to say? I agree. It's terrible. If anybody's free on Tuesday, go and take your kit to play, really, because I think, like you said, we are definitely down to the bare bones. I think, look, we need to, and I said this 3 seasons ago, we need to have solutions to these problems. And at the moment, it's like, it's glaringly obvious that we've got problems in certain areas. And the powers that be need to have solutions.
You know what, Rich, right? I think you're the perfect person to speak to about this, especially when we're speaking about injuries, right? About 2 weeks ago, Sean Butler, friend of the show, he put out a video, and it was with this medic called Gary, right? And what he spoke about was every single manager comes in with their fitness coach and their different way of doing things, right? So he gave an example. Some will try and build strength through dumbbells, and some will build strength through using the wire machines and stuff like that. There's different. So there's different ways of building strength or conditioning or fitness. But we've had such a graveyard. We've gone through so many managers and so many different fitness coaches and so many different medical departments that there's a graveyard of equipment and styles and things to do. And you're putting the body of the athlete under different types of stress, you know what I mean? Like year in, year out. So you're going from one extreme to the next extreme, you know, with every single manager. And that was like, it was spoken about as that being a part of some of the impact that we've faced with those injuries. But You being an athlete, you would know about those different things. So do you think that would be a contributing factor to these injuries?
100%. So why is Ronaldo never injured? Because he's got his own fitness coach. Well, I had my own fitness, my strength conditioning coach all through my track career, never changed. And I think Tottenham football generally, I think it's a bit behind the times with regarding general fitness, because it is a real responsibility for the athletes, the footballers, to have their own strength condition, their own coaches that feed into a mechanism that then is training. And I believe that's the best way of going about kind of having ownership of your own fitness, managing injuries, managing loads. I wouldn't say that the main contributor is the amount of games that we play, because we generally get knocked out of the competitions quite early. Yes, this season we are playing Champions League and Premier League, but I don't think that's the reason. I think it's there is a real problem, like you say, Ricky, with styles of training and how you look at the difference between Ange and like the Contes, the Mourinhos, all very different, and all their styles are very different around the press and around the management of the game. And when you're a player that works maybe slightly different than other players, and you're still expected to have the same intensity of training and intensity of match play, it is going to have a massive holistic difference on your own well-being, your own fitness, and your own injuries, because every athlete is completely different. And this is a real problem within football, where structurally the coach will expect a certain intensity from every player. And as we know, all players are different ages, different robustness, and unfortunately the players cannot respond to that. And that's why we're getting these real acute injuries, hamstring, Achilles, etc. And that's something that I've seen in athletics. And how that's managed is you have a personal S&T coach, you have your personal coach, you have a doctor, you have a squad coach that manages the whole national governing body, and these people feed into that. And unfortunately, within football, because that isn't happening, we're having these injuries. And I've said over the last 5-6 years that we've been doing this show together, Chris, that I have a real issue with how Spurs manage the players, and I've got a real issue with how they've been brought back into the team, especially under Ange Postecoglou, where we'd be seeing players that should have been out for 12, 13 weeks are back within 6, 7 and 8, and then pushed in the team, and then they're injured within 90 minutes. And that is not a way to have a team that has confidence, that knows that they've got all these great players around them that are fit, ready to go match day. And you look at other teams, Woolwich, you look at some of the teams that have got massive amounts of resources, but also when the players are on the pitch, they're fully able to contribute. And that's what we haven't got at the moment. When we've got players like we did have Sonny last year that was injured for a lot of the season, still playing, it has a massive impact on the results, but also the confidence in the coach and the medical staff. Because at the moment, there needs to be some questions. And I feel that when I hear Thomas Frank talking, he doesn't really answer the question that even the reporters are putting to him. He doesn't answer the question that the reporters put into him. This isn't good enough. The fans aren't happy with these performances. And he's going, well, yeah, we played quite well, even though we lost 2-0. Fuck that. Look, are you happy if you play fantastic football and lose 2-0? No. What do you want to do? You want to win. You've got to win as a team. It is about winning mentality. Not, look, yes, with the Tottenham way of playing, I understand that. but it's winning mentality. What is Thomas Frank at the moment? A loser, because that's what he's doing. He's losing a lot. Is it 7 games we've won in 25? Losing a lot. Well done,
Craig. Let's come to you. On 57 minutes, it was a wonderful effort from Javi Simmons just past the post. I tell you what, I think that at the end of the game, when I watched the players walking over to the away end, the body language, Javi Simmons was the one that seemed the most frustrated today after the game. What did you make of his effort? Very unlucky.
Yeah, it was. I think it came from a Manchester United error, didn't it? And we picked up on it, and very, very close actually. Yeah, really unlucky. And he does. You're right. He does look like the sort of player, or one of the players that looks most frustrated after the games. We've seen it before. He's one of those players, a bit like Richarlison, that never actually looks happy at all. But he looked especially frustrated after games this season, which is a real shame, because I think he's been putting in some really good performances in games this season. Without him, I think we would have been in a worse place, if that's even possible.
Now, on 59 minutes, Manchester United with another effort on goal. Vicario saving from Luke Shaw. A couple of minutes later, Darlow also had an effort saved by Vicario. On 68 minutes, a poor clearance from Vicario, resulting in Manchester United having the ball in the net again, but it was offside again. On 77 minutes, Sosa, good recovery. Ahmad, it seemed like he was clear through. 2 minutes later, Casemiro with another long shot, Vicario saving. And then on 80 minutes, a treble sub from Thomas Frank, Tel, Mawani, Basuma all coming on, Gallagher, Polinia and Solanke all going off. And then just a couple of seconds later, Craig, we found ourselves 2-0 down. Fernandes with the goal. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was a good move again from United. Good cross put into the box. I can't remember who crossed it, but it was a really good cross. And Fernandes just nipping in there, and comes off his shin and goes past Vicario. Some people saying Vicario was to blame for that. I'm not sure about that. He was going the other way and had to dive to his left. So it was just a good finish from Fernandes. Unbelievable stats from Fernandes since he joined United. Obviously a player that Spurs were after at the time too, but didn't get that deal done either. We got Jedson Fernandes instead of Bruno. How Spursy is that? But yeah, another well-worked goal by Manchester United, and that was pretty much game, set and match by that stage. And let's face it, United could have won that at 4 or 5-0 at least in that second half. They just looked totally resurgent, and yeah, thoroughly deserved to win the game.
Now, at the time of recording, there have been 6 Premier League results today. Manchester United 2, Spurs 0, Bournemouth 1, Aston Villa 1. Arsenal have just beaten Sunderland 3-0 at home. West Ham have beaten Burnley at Turf Moor 2-0. Fulham 1, Everton 2, and Wolves 1, Chelsea 3, which means that Spurs are now only 6 points above the relegation zone. Now, lastly, we've just got a couple of minutes left, so I'm going to give you each 2 minutes to talk about or preview the Newcastle game on Tuesday evening at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Ricky, what are you expecting? Like I said to Richard, we're down to bare bones. We've got hardly any players available. We don't know the injury news on Destiny Udogie as yet. But from a fan's perspective, what do you want to see? What do you want to see on Tuesday? I know what I want to see. I want to see 3 points. I don't care how we get them, but we need a win.
3 points and fight, mate. We fight. Show us what you're about. You know, drag us in, and his agent want to speak left, right, and centre. You know what I mean? Like all the time. Now you've got an opportunity. Show us what you're about too. It's about fight and being relentless, going out there and demanding and guaranteeing those 3 points, coming away and showing us that you're a little bit better than what everybody thinks that you are. Go out there and make that happen, man. We need to come away with 3 points against Newcastle. You can't lose that game and then go into against the Gooners, because my goodness, that's going to be a very depressing week. So we need them to stand up and fight. And yeah, are we down to the bare bones? When we are down to the bare bones, that's when you see the best of certain people, and that's what we need to see. We need to see the best of you and what you've got, and not listen to the noise, but put your best foot forward and go and make it happen. Like, that's what I need to see out there. And fundamentally, my friend, we have to come away with those 3 points, because going into the Gooners after 2 potential losses, like Craig said earlier, we're going to be down there, and do not think that they're not going to love playing us next week and putting in the final nails of the coffin, so that we are, we're really not happy. So we need to go in there with something. We hardly get up any momentum at all. So you need just a little bit of good feeling, those 3 points to take it into that battle, and then we can see what happens next. But like you said there, we're down to bare bones. Yes, we've got all the excuses in the world, but this is where those that are there, step up, show us what you got. Show us what you got, man, because we need you. I know that the boys with the shirt, they don't want to be in this position. We don't want you in this position. We don't want to be here depressed or slagging them off, or we don't want to do these things. We want to cheer you. We want to be behind you. We want to be feeling, that you care as much as we do, and that it means as much to you as it does to us. Go out there and do that, and come away with those 3 points, and I'd be a happy guy.
Rich, coming to you on Tuesday's game, and also it's worth mentioning that next weekend Spurs don't actually have a game. So from the Newcastle game to the Arsenal game, we actually have a 12-day break. Now, Thomas Frank and Postecoglou used to say this as well about having that time to prepare for such huge games. But it's a very quick turnaround for the Newcastle one. What are you expecting on Tuesday?
Jeez. Yeah, just we need to have 3 points, obviously. We need to have faster start of the game. I think, obviously, the fans will play a really big part in lifting the players. I think it'd be great if the fans that are watching, listening to this, that are going on Tuesday, to really get behind the players, because booing or singing, getting sacked in the morning isn't going to help. And whether we think that or not, it's just not going to help. We desperately need some points from that game, like you said, with the big games after that as well, and the rest. We need to have some positivity moving forwards into that period, and how I see that happening. It's we've obviously got limited resources, but it's about maximising those resources now, and making sure that Frank sets up his team to be able to win that game. Not just maybe today. I was actually thinking at the start: is he going into that game just to have the odd moment and then hopefully nick it? That's what I was kind of thinking, and then I was thinking, actually, maybe that's what he was doing, because obviously the draws that we'd had recently, I think he'd done that, especially even in that Burnley game, which was terrible to think that you go to Burnley to get a draw. But yeah, I'd hope that Frank had got that fire in his belly and actually going, if I don't win this game, maybe I've lost my job. But it seems he's untouchable. I think any other manager previously with a record like this would have been gone by now. And I'm not seeing why he's still got his job. I don't understand what is he bringing to the team. What kind of gems is he bringing to the team that's really showing us that next season is going to be any different? I think he's literally on sack watch. Really, he's going to get sacked at some point, isn't he, in the near future if he plays like this? Because, like I said before, and yeah, I didn't want him in the first place. That he just is the football isn't right. He isn't right for the role, and I'm not seeing any solutions to some of the problems that we as fans are seeing. We are seeing these problems every week, every game, and he's just going, well, we played well, but we lost 2-0. I'm like, yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, we need to win against Newcastle. But that still wouldn't really change my mind around him and the structure of the team.
And finally, Craig.
Just echoing what the guys have said, what Ricky said about just want to see some fight and passion. It's going to be difficult because we're down to the bare bones, but Going back to what Richard said, I'm not quite sure how Thomas Frank's still in the job at the moment. I think if you lose to Newcastle, then they've got enough time to get somebody else in with a long break to the Arsenal game and get that new manager bounce for the Arsenal game. I think that's the only way I could see us even challenging Arsenal to beat them in that game. Sad to say. People saying who we're going to get to come in. I just think you get a new manager in, a new manager bounce, somebody that gets the club and can actually get the players playing with a smile on their face again. I think it's going to be a tough game on Tuesday against Newcastle. They come to our stadium. They got a pretty good record against us. Yes, they're beatable. I just want to see a performance, Chris. I just really want to see a performance. But like you say, 3 points is the most important thing, but it's going to be a big ask.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? The job that Michael Carrick has done there. Gone in 4 games, 4 wins. And that guy, Frank, might actually get a haircut on the 10th of Feb when they play West Ham United away. I tell you what. Yeah, we need them to win that game. We need Manchester United to win that game so that guy gets a haircut. Craig, talking of haircuts, actually, no, it's you, Ricky, isn't it? It's you.
Yeah, I've got to go.
Right. Thank you so much for joining me, Ricky. And we will talk to you again soon. Where can people find you? And what is this new name, Top Bins?
Oh, come on. You know by now. But you know where to find me. At Ricky J. Norwood on X, official Ricky Norwood on Instagram. And if you want to check out the podcast I do with my boy Darren, T-Talk and Tottenham, put it all in one word into YouTube, you'll find us. But yeah, bro, you know where to find me. I'll be here. And if you know about Top Bins, then you know. Do you know what I mean? If you know about, not everybody can get Top Bins, but if,
do you know?
If you know, then you know.
I can't believe I've made that mistake thinking Craig's going to get a haircut.
I thought you were setting him up for a joke, bro. I didn't know what was happening, and then you.
I thought it was a joke. I thought he's only taking the piss here, isn't he?
No, I'm not.
Oh, mate. No. But yeah, I'll be here with you long sufferers on the next one, and we'll see how it goes, man. I'm here on after Newcastle, so fingers crossed we can have some smiles on our faces and something good to talk about.
Yeah, let's hope so. Craig, thanks so much for joining me, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Yeah, definitely see you on Tuesday. And something a little bit more depressing before I go. Forest have got Wolves in the next game as well. So
come on, Wolves.
Yeah. Come on, Wolves.
Rich, thanks so much for coming back. We always love having you on. I know a lot of people keep up to date with your social media. I certainly do. You're always putting lots of stuff out, always doing some great stuff, marathon after marathon. And big news this week on Countdown.
Well, I know, especially a lot of my mates think I can't speak or spell, so it's I know to be on one of those shows. But yeah. So just before London Marathon, I'm on all that week in Dictionary Corner. So
fantastic,
good,
which is awesome. So definitely watch that. I know quite a lot of the viewers like to have entertainment on Countdown. That's more entertaining than football at the moment. So, so definitely watch that. It is very entertaining, and actually it's great to do, to be honest. So I do 1 or 2 of those shows a year, and yeah, Countdown's the one that I've done this year so far, as well as obviously I've done 2 marathons already. Doha, Dubai, both under 3 hours. 2:44 is my fastest one that I did in Dubai recently. So yeah, fit and healthy. London Marathon will be my biggie this year. So as I know, a lot of you come down and shout, "Come on, you Spurs!" when I'm flying past you in Canary Wharf. So keep doing that on London Marathon week, because that definitely makes me think, why the fucking hell am I supporting Spurs?
I hope you're not swearing like this on Dictionary Corner in.
Well, some of the words that I came up with were definitely not in the dictionary for sure.
Yeah,
but it was definitely a good thing to do. And yeah, everybody, all your Spurs fans as well, like head up. It will change. It will change, and together stronger. But we need to have a collective change, because at the moment it is really tough to be a Spurs fan.
Yeah, indeed. Well, Rich, keep up the great work. Thanks so much for joining us yet again, and we look forward to having you on again very soon. Craig and Ricky, thank you so much. We'll see you on Tuesday. Rich, we'll see you very soon. Try to enjoy the rest of the weekend, everyone, and we will be back on Tuesday after that huge game against Newcastle. So we will see you soon. Stay safe and well, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on.